With Enzo's direction, I think I did it. Hey, everybody. Uncle Bones is here. You were first, Uncle Bones. And Tanya and Sky Talker. Rock Chick Beauty, hello. Hello. Jay is here. Cheryl King's here. Oh, gosh. Who else is here? Have I missed anybody? Oh, well, Tanya. Oh, Maisie Rose. Why isn't it working, Maisie Rose? I'll check that in a second. I think, have I got everybody? I think I've got everybody. Give me a cranky face if I didn't. I think everybody is here. And, of course, Enzo's here. And Maisie Rose. I don't know why that's not working. I'll do it again now. And I'm going to put it in the chat for you, Maisie. Okay? So it should work from the chat. Let me know. Maisie wants to come on for a little while and talk about a strange experience she had. So we'll have to find out all about that. I hope everybody enjoyed my 5 haunting questions with CL. I kept wanting to call her CJ, and I don't know why. Maybe because CL, but now it's CL. Yeah, she's a really nice lady. I like her. I'm glad she made contact with me. Hey, Dee. Hello, Dee. And yep. I think I'm saying hello to everybody. Oh, Julie, hello, sweetheart. You were watching the episode. Thank you for that. So here we are, and we're just going to talk about random stuff like we normally do. I'm sure Enzo might have something interesting to talk about later on. I'm sure there has to be something happening. Yes, Tanya, it's kind of like yes, I did it too. I even called a CJ. Point. I went, so it's all right, but that's okay. I'm working on I interviewed Mike Gagliano and Mary Lynn from Sidekicks Paranormal the other day, and I'm working through editing that one now, so I'll have that out for probably, I don't know, maybe what's a Friday, maybe Sunday night for everybody, so everyone can watch it. But then again, that's annoying too, because Australian people will be at work. I'll figure out a good time to put it on so everyone can see it. But I'm editing through that now. I can't stop laughing. He's such a dill. Here we call people that are silly a dill, but we don't mean it's like nasty. It's just like, it's nice. Hey, Kibba. Let's see. Hope you're not melting in the heat. I can walk now, but I have to build up my strength to walk again. You'll be right. Yeah, no, it is going to be hot today, but I am safe and sound inside my air-conditioned home. But it's not going to be super hot. I think 33 or something, which I'm not quite sure. Hi, Fantastic. I like saying Fantastic. Hello. I've been enjoying your content lately too, Missy. It's good. No, Kibba. Well, yes, Kibba, he did. Hang on, where are we? There we are. Yes, he did, and he said he'll do it. So I'm just waiting for him now to tell me when he'll do it. So I might have to get Mrs. Beardo onto him again and say, oi, hurry up. And also Ouija Brothers have agreed to do it as well, probably sometime next week, because they're filming this week. So that'll be pretty cool. Who else am I got to edit? And I actually did a 5 haunting questions with Enzo too, because I thought, you know what, he's on every week, and a lot of people don't know all that much about him in that regard. So I thought, you know what, I'll pop it on. So I'm making one with Enzo too. We've got a few coming up. Yeah, well, they got back to me straight away. Actually, Sky Talker, they came back to me. I just sent the email off, and within a few minutes, so they must have been on their computer. So that was really nice. They could have said no. So Mr. Gray, Ouija Brothers, Dave Schrader, he's doing it with me next week. I can't remember. I'd have to get my little list out of people I've asked. But I keep just asking everybody, and that I find interesting. So up to them if they want to. I won't chase them. I did ask Mythos as well, and he said he would, but there's something about, I don't know, could have just been a polite excuse, but something about his computer and something else, and he'll let me know. So I don't know. I'll ask him again, though. I'll say, oi, you. Yes, Dave and I are doing it next week, Tanya. Dave's a merry man. I don't do things like that. Oh, Julie, thank you. I'm not sure. I know Jay Leno. No, Jay Leno wasn't. I know Johnny Carson. He's my actually Johnny Carson. I like him. I like the way he used to interview. It was more just like he was having a conversation, and that's why I liked him. Like I don't know, Jimmy Fallon. I don't reckon he's all that good at interviewing. He laughs too much. And he's like, oh yeah, like he really agrees with them all the time. And I'm thinking, you're over the top, Jimmy, settle down. But I still like Jimmy Fallon from the Saturday Night Live days. I like Saturday Night Live. I haven't watched it for
like he tried too hard to like shoehorn in a joke somehow sometimes too.
Yeah. And Jimmy Kimmel's okay. He's pretty good at interviewing, I guess. If you can hear a screech in the background, it's one of my birds. I'm going to kill it. It's a very naughty bird. It's going crook because my daughter's let her cats out to roam through the house out of their normal area. So I put the birds in the cage, bar one. I put the birds in the cage, and that's what I cop because they want to hop out and play, but they can't because if they're silly and drop on the floor, they'll be pussycat food. Oh, I'm more like Barbara Walters. Oh, is that a compliment? I suppose so. She was in it for a long time. You know who I used to love? I used to love the Dinah Shore show. I don't know how many people are old enough. Do you remember the Dinah Shore show? It used to be on here in Australia. I think I've told you this story before, but it used to be on, I can't remember what time, but I used to watch it as a young kid. And my mum would go out to do the shopping or whatever. And because when you watch a lot of these talk shows, but Dinah Shore, her furniture was arranged in like a triangle, like she'd have a coffee table in like a triangle shape, the way the couches were. So she'd sit on one couch and look over at her guests and talk to them that way. So my mum would go out and I'd rearrange the furniture in the lounge room and sit it there. And I used to have pretend conversations with movie stars. That's what I used to do. I used to love it. But my mum didn't because she'd come home and go, oh, and have to put the furniture back. But bad luck. Oh, hey, Scratch and Pete. Hello, welcome in. And Joseph, hello. Oh, good to see everybody. Buffalo wings. Don't talk about food like that, Joseph, I mean. Because, Joseph, there's somebody next door to me cooking barbecue, and I can smell it, and it smells really, really good. It's just after 11 o'clock in the morning, so how dare they pop it up that early? But it's all right. Really? That's going to inspire me. When we finish the live stream today, I'm going to go to the butcher, and I'm going to buy some steak, and I'm going to go and buy some mushrooms. And I'm just going to, and I know not everybody loves mushrooms, but I do. And I'm going to fry myself up a big piece of steak and smother it in mushrooms and butter. And then I'll be very happy.
I like mushrooms with my steak. That's great.
Oh, I love mushroom sauce with my, like I just fry up. How do you do it, Enzo? I put a big blob of butter in the pan and all the mushrooms all chopped up and stir fry it around, a little bit of pepper, maybe a little bit of salt, and then just keep stirring it. It sort of goes a bit thick, and then over the top of the steak.
I like a fair dose of garlic myself in there.
Oh, yeah, I do garlic as well. I put garlic, but normally I sprinkle the garlic on the steak while I'm cooking it, not in with the mushroom sauce. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that.
I'll get butter on the steak while you're cooking it.
Yeah, I'll cook everything in butter. Everything in butter. I don't cook anything in any sort of oil because it's bad for you. Like vegetable oil, chuck that to the and olive oil I've heard changes its chemical. Like olive oil is very healthy and good for you on a salad, for example, in tossed salad. But apparently when you cook it, the olive oil changes with the heat, changes its chemical whatever, and isn't good for you. So I don't use it. And if I do use oil, it's coconut. I'll cook in coconut oil. But, yeah, I try to just use butter all the time because butter is better.
Yeah.
That's
I
what I
like
think.
avocado oil for cooking in sometimes too.
Oh yeah. Avocado oil. I
It's
love avocados.
I am a horrible cook, so I need avocado oil, which has a much higher smoke point, so I don't burn stuff.
That's a really good idea because avocado oil would be all right. Yeah. No, I want to remember eating my steak.
The steak is eating me.
What's a Kibba says we cook hamburger in water so the fat separates out to make lean meat. Well, see, I eat high fat meat. I don't eat lean anything. Because I'm doing the keto type thing, you can do that because that fat is a good fat. The fat in meat is good fat. The fat in bacon is good fat. The fats that are bad are the ones like vegetable oils and all that sort of crap. So, yeah. Oh, hey, Catherine. Hello. Are you going over to Kenny Biddle? I know Kenny Biddle's on now. You're going to desert me for the Kenny. I just feel it. It's okay, Catherine. Thanks for popping in. Now, Maisie's been waiting patiently down in the basement. So I'll let her up and let's find out what this crazy story is that Maisie's got to tell.
Can't wait.
I know. Hey, Maisie, can you hear me?
Hiya, can you hear me?
I can.
Yes, it's good.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yes. So,
all right, tell us. Because you live with mum, don't you? You live with mum, yeah?
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
all right.
I'm in Glasgow and she's back up the road in the Highlands in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, I'm just asking you lots of meaningless questions so I can listen to your accent.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I love a Scottish accent.
This is freaking us out.
Right.
Okay.
Everyone in the chat can comment and also let Maisie Rose what you think this might be. I don't know. I haven't heard the story. I'm just interrupting because I do that. Okay, go, Maisie. I'm going to shut up.
Is this when I say, Karen, shush?
Yes, you're allowed to say shh.
Right. Listen to the accent. Okay, right. I'm really freaking out a bit about this, and I am looking for help from all of us to see if you can maybe figure out what's going on, because what's happened is impossible, basically. So I was phoning my mum and it went to voicemail. Now, this is a common thing that happens because mum's 80, she's quite slow at getting up. So I was, doing my usual on the voicemail saying, okay, I am about to phone back. And she told me later that she actually answered it and she was hearing me telling her, she was hearing me telling her to pick up. So I cancelled the call and I called back immediately and it was engaged. So I gave it a few minutes and then I called back. She told me straight after I put down the phone, it rang again, and my ex's number came up. My ex Alan, his number came up on the display. She didn't answer it, and when it stopped ringing, my number displayed, and she answered it and told me what happened. Now, Mum wasn't being rude, not answering the phone, because she loved my ex Alan. I mean, myself and Alan, I stay friends with my exes, and myself and Alan were friends. Oh gosh, for over, well, it must have been about 37 years, 38 years, and he was my best friend right up until his death in October 2021. So nobody else has his phone. Mum actually phoned the number back the next day because she was curious, and it it just said this number is not available. You know, when you phone a number that's not a number, that's what she got. So that's why I'm freaking out.
Okay, so I'll be the voice of reason. So how old's Mum?
80.
What's her eyesight like?
Oh, it's fine. I mean, it comes up on the display, and because you have the list of the last 10 calls, it's still there.
So did you see it with your own eyes?
No, because I'm in Glasgow.
Okay, so let's just assume for a minute. Oh, what's that funny noise coming from you? Let's assume for a minute that the phone's rung. But what you were describing before can happen. Just, hey, Maisie, have you got something else on where my voice is coming through?
No.
I'm not sure. Oh, it's all right. It's just noisy your end. When I speak, it's noisy your end. So let's just assume, like the first part of it where you rang and she picked up and she could hear you, that can happen. That's just a technical.
That's normal. Yeah.
But where she says that it rang again and she saw your ex's phone number, that is absolutely weird. However, are we sure she did? And when she dialed the number back, did she dial it? You know how sometimes your number shows up on your phone and you can just hit call back, like you don't have to dial it in with your own finger, so to speak. Did she dial it herself, do you know? Or did she just hit the call back button?
She hit the call back button.
Okay.
And it's definitely his name that's on the display.
That's really weird. So let's take it to him. When's his birthday?
Oh, no, that is September.
Okay, so why would it be? Let's assume for a minute, for whatever reason, it's correct what you're saying and it popped up and all that sort of thing, and it doesn't belong to anybody else. What kind of reasoning do you think there could be for his name popping up? Like, is there something around him that there's a reason that he might have wanted someone? I don't know. What do you think?
No, I mean, I was thinking about that. I was thinking, like, why now? And I was thinking when we met, and it's not when we met, because that was the back end of the year as well.
And why your mum and not you, for example?
Well, this is the thing. When we separated, every now and again, if he'd had a wee drammy, he would phone Mum up and he would say, "Oh, do you think she would come out for a meal with me?" And Mum would laugh and she'd say, "Well, Alan, you're gonna have to ask her herself." And they would have a grand wee chat. So that's what it actually made me think of. You know, this was something he would do. Is he would call her now and again, and he would call her just to see how she was doing as well.
Have you tried calling the number yourself to see what happens?
Yes. Yeah, and it's that message you get when a number isn't in service.
It's really weird. It honestly really is, because I know that if something like that happened and my son's number, for example, popped up on my phone, I'd freak out. I'd think, what? I mean, I know phone numbers do get recycled and generally given out, but because that's happened a bit in my lifetime, where someone gets your old phone number or you're given someone's old phone number and then somebody rings it and gets you. But why it would be the other way around's odd. I don't know. Does anybody in the chat? What do you think, Enzo? I'll ask you first since you're.
Well, just a quick review. You called mom. She could hear you, but you couldn't hear her, and you hang up. You call back again a second time. She how did that go from there? That
it's engaged. The phone was engaged, so I gave it a few minutes and then called her back. So when it was engaged, that was when her phone was ringing, displaying Alan's
his number, okay,
his name and number.
From her perspective, she was talking to you.
She'd been. This happens quite often. I think it must be something to do with the answering machine, to be honest. Because I was sort of leaving a message, and she was trying to say, "I'm here, I'm here." So that's not an unusual thing.
No.
Right.
So basically, yeah, Maisie rang, got the message bank. Mum couldn't get her. She's hung up. The phone's rung again. Mum looks at the phone, but it's
that was my thing. Is the phone actually rang on your mom's phone? It actually rang, or you hung up and then there's the display that shows your ex's display.
No. The phone rang, and she saw his name, his name and number came up, and
how long, like, and I know you may not know this exactly, but just approximately, the phone rings when she sees your ex's number on there, and then it like gets hung up, and then that's when you call back the second time. Is that
well, no, I got the engaged.
Right.
So when it was ringing and displaying his name and number, I got an engaged tone. And
well, that's normal too, because you're trying to ring, but the phone line's all.
So I gave it a couple of minutes, a few minutes, couple of minutes, and then I called back.
And Mum answers.
And I'm not sure how long it rang for, Enzo. I don't think it was that long, because
actually, did it go to voicemail? Did she check her voicemail after they rang? Because when you rang and she didn't answer, it went to her voicemail, didn't it?
Oh yeah, but the voicemail didn't connect. It didn't ring long enough for the voicemail, and because Mum's slow at getting up, it rings quite a bit before the voicemail kicks in. So it's the call was cancelled before the answering machine came on.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Enzo, thoughts? I'm baffled.
How old is your mom's phone? Is this a regular, like a hard line type phone, or is it a cell phone?
Oh, it's a landline, yes. And oh gosh, let me see. I think she got it. Oh, she must have got it before Alan died, because his number was in the phone bank. So see, so that was in 2021.
Right. It sounds like, I'm not saying that's what this is, but I'm just trying to think of what the rational explanation might be. That it's a landline. It's got names and numbers pre-programmed into it, so that like the caller ID comes up and she knows who it is. So Alan's phone number was in there. There was already some kind of weirdness going on when you called. She couldn't hear you. You couldn't hear her. You finish your message. She hangs up, and then immediately after it rings, and it was showing the wrong number. I feel like however she programmed the names into the phone, I would imagine your name and his name were probably pretty close in there.
It was actually me that put the numbers in. Because she's not good at that thing. and they're alphabetized. So
yeah, it just to me, it's either one of two things. He's trying to contact you from somewhere else, and that's the way he did it, or my Debbie Downer for you is, I think it's just a weird glitch in her, because she's got an old school type telephone, because his number's already in the database. It is very, very odd that it was his name and not somebody else's, for example. So there is oddity, but I think it can also be explained by just a technical glitch. But I don't know. Otherwise, the only other way to look at it is if he was reaching out from beyond the grave and using your mum's phone, one would have to ask why. Like, how, this is a real Debbie Downer, but how ill is mum? Like, is it something foreboding? Like, that's, I wouldn't see it any other way. I'd freak out. I'd think, no, fuck off. Go away.
You see, but you know, he would phone mum and have a wee chat with her and that sort of thing, you know, to see how she was doing, or you know, to ask if she thought I would go out for a meal with him.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know, but it just, yeah. I mean, it's really odd. It is odd, but I have had personally myself odd things happen with the old style telephone. I have a message bank, and I have had weird things like that happen, and think, what would that come up for? Like, odd things, but or old messages that sometimes pop up. I've had that happen on an answering machine and thought it was a new message, and got really confused, but realised it hadn't been, you know. But that's the message bank. I don't know, Maisie. I don't know how to make you. Well, how do you feel? What do you think it was?
I've no idea. Because I mean, something makes me think that it's not it being like an old phone, because it's quite a fancy phone, and you know,
no, it's not that. It's just that it's old school. Like, not very many people, especially, well, even in Australia, we don't have old landlines anymore. We get it all through the fibre to the, not very, there's still some people that have normal television through the old copper lines. I'm not saying it's an old phone. I'm saying it's old school. Like, it's not a cell phone. It's not a regular way. But I'm not dismissing it. I don't know, because I'd freak out if, like I said, if my son did it. So the only thing I can think of for me, if it were me, I'd be worried, well, is mum okay? Like, is he trying to contact my mum because she's unwell? Like, why else would he try and call my mother? Or am I unwell? Is he trying to call me? Sort of thing.
That's what I would, I mean, it sounds like if you and your ex back in the day when you were together were having problems, he'd call your mom first and run through his plan of patching things up to your mom, is like the story you told us earlier.
Yeah.
And with that being the case, maybe mom isn't the problem, is he's having a problem getting a hold of Maisie, or something's wrong with her that he's concerned about. Let's play this scenario out a little further to the following days. And mom's phone rings again with that number on it. Does she pick it up?
I'm not sure. I haven't asked her.
I know, that's weird.
You know, well, I tell you what, I'm going to share something with you. Karen already knows, and Karen has been my rock. She's been absolutely amazing. At the end of the last year, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I've had an operation. They removed 2 lumps, and I've gone through I've gone through a course of radiotherapy, which was 5 days back to back. It was quite grueling. And at the moment, I'm on the sort of the actual treatment is finished, but even although I'm not going to the treatment, it's still working. And I've got an appointment in March. Yeah, March for my review. So yeah. So there's that.
Yeah. And that so maybe that's what I was trying to allude to without telling
Yeah, I
anybody.
knew what you were saying.
So let's assume for a minute that it is what it is, and by some way that is him, then maybe just go and call in on the doctor sooner. Just go and see the doctor sooner. I know the medical field in America, in Great Britain, is just as bad as the American doctors, but they're shocking. But hopefully you could just go and check. It could be a warning,
or if you can get that appointment scheduled a little sooner, a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Well, they have to leave it that amount of time because of the actual radiotherapy. It's to do with the radiotherapy working. I mean, I actually had them laughing, because when they were saying, "Oh, it'll keep working," I said to them, "So do you mean it's like when you cook something in a microwave and then you take it out and let it stand and it keeps on cooking?" And they started laughing and said, "Well, we've never had it explained like that, but yeah, sort of."
Your burrito is still cooking.
Yes, it is. My boobito.
Well, no, with what goes on in one's head when you're going through this sort of trauma, it's traumatizing. Have you been thinking of him at all? And maybe, maybe that's something that's just happened. But let's go with the positive, and let's say it's a way that if it is, that's what that was. It's a way of him reaching you out just to let you know that he's watching, and he's thinking about you, and that's why he rang your mum and not you. Typical male. Like, honestly, even in death, he has to ring your mother. So yeah, I don't know.
He was probably having a drama too.
Yeah, he probably was. Well, if I were you, just think about it in a positive way and don't be frightened. Don't be too freaked out. And maybe it's just his way of saying, "Oi, I'm watching. You look after yourself." Or maybe it's him saying, "Go back sooner. Go to the doctor now, would you, and just get double checked or something." I don't know. I'd probably go back to I wouldn't tell her. I wouldn't tell the doctor about the phone call, and that's why you're coming back, because they might section you and lock you up. Oh my God, the radiation therapy's gone to her head. But I'd definitely go and just sort of say, "Hey, can you run a couple of blood tests or do a little bit of a check? I'm not just tell a fib and say, I'm just feeling a bit off. I just want to be sure everything's all right." Because doctors are a bit useless. No offense if there happens to be one watching, but they are. Sometimes they've got to actually be told what to do. They don't necessarily give a shit otherwise. So long as they get their small fee paid for them to the day, but just, or just ring up and just sort of say, "Hey, I'd just go and just, everybody needs a visit to the doctor for nothing. Like, just go say you're just feeling a bit odd and unwell, and can they run a few checks for you?" Because then they will. And then if there's anything the matter, you'll know. And if anything's not the matter, then you'll know that too. That's what I would do. Just in case it was him, because you never know.
Yeah, I know I won't be able to get an appointment earlier with that doctor. She's actually the surgeon, but I don't know, maybe I could.
Just your regular GP. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
Yeah,
Because
just go, because it could be something completely different. It might not be anything to do with that.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen her since my diagnosis because it's just been all hospitals and things. So, but yeah, let's not bring
Don't dwell on the
down
negative.
with
Oh no. It's
No.
there's nothing to indicate positive or negative from this. It's just kind of a mystery at
It's
this
just
stage.
weird. Yeah. But
It's,
if it happened to me, I'd be thinking, what should I be checking?
right.
You could be going to win the lotto. Maybe you want to borrow money.
That's it.
You never
They
know.
come from all around when you win money. You come into money and you have all those old friends and family show up.
I would have
Do you feel a bit better now, Maisie? Do you feel a bit better now we talked about it?
One last question before we leave this topic. When exactly was this? Like how many hours ago? This was just yesterday, right?
Oh gosh. No. This was on Tuesday.
Okay.
And I've been sort of stewing.
Oh boy.
And myself and Mum have been trying to figure out, and I mean, we speak every night anyway, but that's basically all we've been talking about and trying to get a rational reason for it. And
maybe, no offense to you, might not be even anything to do with you. Maybe get Mum to the doctor too for a checkup because she's getting on. I mean, 80s, no spring chicken. Says me that's only 19 years away from it. but maybe she should go to the doctor too and just get checked. That's what I would do it. I'd see it as a friendly reminder to look after oneself so you don't have to go and have a dram with him wherever he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I'd think.
Yeah.
That's what I would think. I wouldn't worry about it. I'd see it as a positive.
Yeah, Mum's got an appointment with the doctor, so she's got a checkup. She's got diabetes, so diabetes is
a beast of its own. So just take it as a positive and don't let it freak you out. Unless your mum starts seeing him in a lounge room or something, then that's kind of like, we don't want that happening.
No.
Yeah, I think unless something else happens again, this is like a one-time thing. I'd kind of probably chalk it up to just wonky phone line strangeness. But if it continues to happen, or you notice other strange things, because these things do come in waves when they do happen.
I always say things come in threes.
Yeah.
Well, I don't always say it. Everybody says that.
Yeah. Keep an eye out for other synchronicities and things like that. But at this stage, since it happened now, several days ago, and you haven't noticed anything else, or haven't been any more phone calls or anything like that,
look at Daniel, always a pessimist. I'm hoping it's not a scammer, but no, Daniel, because but they did try to ring it back.
The number back, and it was disconnected.
And it was disconnected, so a bit odd. But yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to Dawny, who's in. I think she's still here. Hey, Dawn, and Sonny. I think is he still in the chat? He popped in. There he is. How you doing, Sonny? How's that little eye of yours? It should be probably yellow now. You know how bruises go yellow after? Yeah, I bet he's gorgeous. Well, have we been of a help to you, Rosie? Has that been?
Yeah, that's grand. I was just, I thought, well, I'll just put it to yourselves and the community to see what, they'd like.
Well, most everybody in the chat is positive with it, like it's him reaching out to you or keeping an eye on you or whatever. So it's either that or it's just some weird technical glitch. that just happens to have thrown up a deceased person's number instead of something that wouldn't freak you out.
With a landline like that, with preloaded phone numbers already in it that Maisie did herself, I'm sure she probably loaded his in right after her name. It just kind of flipped over to that for some reason, and when Maisie disconnected, it continued to ring because it was already wonky at that point where they couldn't hear each other. So who knows?
Oh, Dawny. Hey, Dawny. I'll put a. Are you able to just come on for a second, Dawn? If you can tell those stories, that'd be pretty cool. I can put the link in. You don't have to put your face up if you haven't got your face on. I'll see if I've still got it. Oh, yeah, I stuck it in there for you, Dawn. If you want to pop in for a second, tell some of those stories. Might be helpful to, could be helpful. Hey, Maisie, are you okay if I pop you back down into the chat just because there's some feedback from your end and I don't know what it is. Can you hear it, Enzo? Or is it only me?
It's a little feedback from us talking to her. We can hear ourselves just a little bit.
And it's just slightly annoying. So, and my OCD isn't coping, or ADHD. I don't know what I am. I'm something weird.
Yeah,
so really I'll pop you back down, and if there's something important you need to add, I can pop you back up. But just to get rid of the noise.
Yeah,
is that all right?
Before you do that, Maisie, could you mute your phone where we can't hear you? You can still hear us through the phone. And then if you do have something
I'm on a tablet. Oh, yeah. So, right. Wait a minute. Mute my mic.
So you're muted now. Because this way, we won't hear ourselves. And if you do want to say something, you can just unmute and say whatever it is and then mute it again.
Yeah, there you go.
You can still be part of the conversation. You'll have to push a button.
Yeah. So we'll see if Dawny heard me and if she wants to come in. But yeah, look, odd things happen. And of course, as a nurse, the amount of times I've had people that I've nursed that have told me my brother was here or I saw my mum, and you know that those people have passed away. They're not seeing people that have come in to visit. I've been confused sometimes. So when I have been nursing, there was one gentleman I was looking after and he said my son was just here, and I thought, I didn't realise his son had passed, and he's saying, yes, my son was just here, and he was a little bit in delirium, this gentleman, because he was close to the end. And I said, okay, is he still here? I'll go and get him a chair and whatever. And he's gone, I think he is, dear. I think he is. And I've walked out to the other girls and said, because there you had to be let in by the book, like you've got to sign in. And I said, has anyone seen his brother? Like he said, his brother was just, his son was just here. Oh, there's Dawny. I'll add you. Hey, Dawn.
Hello.
I don't know if my connection will be good enough to talk.
Oh, it sounds okay. It sounds all right. She looks beautiful as normal. But and then it turned out that no one had signed in. There'd been no one visiting, but you know, the minute I start hearing people that are slowly passing away start talking about seeing people in their room it's a sign.
Yeah.
You know, it's a sign.
One of my sisters was a nurse, and she worked at a retirement, basically it's an old age home, hospital, hospice kind of arrangement. Basically, it was people's final days that they're we're just waiting to die, basically, as sad as that is. But she said almost all of them. She said a lot. I should say she said a lot of them. But if any of them started talking about seeing dead relatives around and stuff like that, she knew probably about within 24 hours or so they'd be gone.
Yeah, it's time. That's your indicator to calling family and saying, hey, maybe you should come down if you want to. Some don't see anything. Some don't. Well, at least if they do see it, they don't say it. So, Dawny, what are these stories? Tell us one of the stories about your friends getting phone calls and stuff. This is this interests me.
Sure. Well, now connection goes bad. I'm sorry, but I just remember when I was taking some master's courses in college, I met this lady. We lived in the same town, but we didn't know each other. So, we were put in the same group. And I worked for a Hallmark store during my college days. Actually, it was my bachelor's degree. And we were put in a group together and we started talking, and she realized where I worked. And she's like, "Oh, well, you would know my daughter's friends." And she mentioned who they were, and I was like, "Yeah, I work with them at night sometimes." And she said, "Well, my daughter's the one who passed away recently." And I was like, "Oh no." What happened was her daughter was with 3 other friends, and they were in a horrific accident late at night. The person who was driving the car lost control on a back road and went airborne into a tree. And those teenagers lost their lives and didn't get to finish high school. Can everybody hear me okay?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah.
can hear
I'm
you.
just
We can hear
sad.
you.
Okay.
That's horrible, yeah.
So it's really sad. And as soon as she said who she was, I mean, I instantly knew who she was talking about with her daughter. And so she kind of felt comfort in knowing I knew her friends. Whenever we would have class, she would, like, before class would start, she would tell me some things. When she found out I was into the paranormal, she felt a little safer to talk to me about some things that were happening. So I remember her telling me that her daughter really loved balloons. They always made a big deal about her birthday or any celebrations to have balloons. And she said, "Dawn, I'm not kidding you. Like, I don't have any balloons in my house, and there'll be balloons that just show up out of nowhere and they go over towards her picture." And she said, "I don't know if I'm crazy or, just what's going on." And I was, trying to comfort her and say, "Well, that could be a sign from your daughter. I mean, they want to use things that are familiar to you." And then she said, "The weirdest thing is I kept her cell phone, and I would get calls and her name would pop up on her cell phone, and it would be staticky." And that's what I've heard when people tell these stories, that it would be kind of staticky and you can't really hear them sometimes. But for her, it was just like the name came across, and she would not cancel her uh, cell phone for a while because she just kept waiting for those calls. But she got them periodically, and it would be, her daughter calling her own number, which is weird to begin with, calling your own number, and it was her cell phone, and it would just be staticky, and she would just sit there and listen.
That's horrible. But I understand how
Yeah.
Mum would have just sat there and listened, because, like I said, if Stephen did that, if I got a call, I just wouldn't want to hang up. I'd think, if it's you, I'd probably lose my mind. It's pretty sad, tragic end to that little girl's life, and then that Mum has to go through that. But yeah, that's pretty full on, isn't it, Dawny?
That was some time ago, and cell phones were kind of new then too, so it was just kind of weird, but I also loved hearing her stories. The balloon one did kind of get to me because it was just so weird. She's like, "There's no explanation for this balloon, and it always when it
Manifesting
happens, it goes
a
to her
balloon out of
picture."
nowhere.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
that's weird. And look, having obviously gone through it, there are weird things that happen just after, within a week. Within a week of the passing, weird things happen to me. So, and I have no explanation for them, but then it kind of teeters off. It's kind of,
yeah,
maybe their energy is still around and they're trying to say something, trying to do something, and then the energy just dissipates, perhaps. I don't know. But yeah, so if
maybe
those
giving her comfort.
yeah,
She
and
needed a
yeah.
lot of comfort from grieving, and she kept telling me little things here and there. But I do specifically remember the balloon and the cell phone were the big ones. And I'm still in touch with her, but we just kind of lost touch, like not talking very often. But she'll comment on some things here and there, and she seems to be doing a lot better. But she was still grieving when I had class with her.
And that's the thing, and you don't stop grieving. It just gets well, no, you don't really stop grieving. You just push it back a bit. You just try to, not let it get to you. Grief is worse than death, I reckon. I think I'd much prefer a visit from death and have a cup of tea with him. Grief can get kicked to the side, like, piss off, leave me alone. I don't like grief, so my heart goes out to that lady. That's really sad. What's Daniel got to say? Let's have a look. There are stories of getting calls to a landline phone from a dead person. Yeah, well, I've heard many stories, and like Maisie was saying with what's happened with her mum, in some ways I'm just trying to be logical and say, well, it could be this. Even with the little girl's cell phone, it could have just been a glitch in the. It could have been, but to take that away from mum
from her own number on her cell phone, though,
that's glitchy and weird. So I never want to really take anything away from anybody, especially when they're grieving, because we can't say it's absolutely 100% technical. Same with Maisie. You can't say 100% it's technical. You can't. It's it's paranormal, isn't it? It can't be explained really, unless someone sat down and could piece it all together and show you how it happens. Then you might be able to go, oh. But I wouldn't want to take anything away from that lady, because that gave her comfort, So and who knows? Maybe it truly
comfortable
was.
telling me.
Yeah.
Which
yeah.
was,
So
good, because she
Yeah.
knew I would probably be more believing it than other people would think she's crazy.
Yeah, no, and I don't think she's crazy. I don't think anyone's crazy when that sort of thing happens, because it's happening. But why? Like, even the balloon thing, it happened. So how, we don't know, and therefore, yes, it's a paranormal type thing. Other than that, it's someone playing a cruel joke, which I couldn't imagine. Well, I can imagine people can be cruel, but do you know what I mean? So I don't know, and I'm sure. There's probably many people out there that these sorts of things happen to, and they don't want to tell anybody because they think, oh, if I tell you, you'll think I'm a nutter. Like, you'll think I'm insane. And that's kind of sad. But grief is one where your mind, you do the silliest thing. I signed up for it 2 weeks after my son passed away. I signed up to do a university degree. And I thought, I can't do like it. Because in my brain, it was like, oh, there's so many things he could have done and he can't do any of them. And I'm just sitting here and I'm going to do a university degree in psychology. And then I took maybe 4 months till I realized, what the hell am I doing? Why did I do this? Why did I sign up for this? Like, it was just, you do the stupidest things in the beginnings of grief. That's where you need people that care about you to reach out and go, now, hang on a second.
Yeah.
Hold that thought. Just hold all those thoughts for 6 months away. Let's just get through this first. So if anybody's grieving, don't sign up to do anything. Don't buy anything. Don't do anything. Just breathe and wait for that first 3 months, and then you get a bit of common sense about you. You're just totally insane for the first 3 months. You really are. But yuck, grief. So, Donnie, when are you? What's happening with you and Joe at the minute? When are you off for your next adventure? Do tell.
Oh, I miss Joe so much. I'm going to actually go down and see him next weekend, and then he's going to come up here the following weekend. I secured a place. I'm not going to mention it right now.
Oh, no,
Most people haven't heard of it. Most people haven't heard of it. I'm surprised the big YouTube channels and what we would call the fakers haven't been there. I even talked to the person who runs it, and I asked him, like, why aren't these people flocking to it? It would be a gold mine for them with some of the stuff that happened there or supposedly happened there. And they say it's verified. I don't have time to do a ton of research, but I'm trying to look into some things. It's been on a popular show, but most people kind of bury it and don't realize that they can get into this place now. It used to be closed off, so I think that's probably why it's not on people's lists anymore. But it's been on my short list, and I finally found a contact to get a hold of the guy who runs it, and they opened it back up, and it's a hotel. I did post a picture on my Facebook. So it's an old hotel that it has like 30 rooms. So So it's bigger than what we thought, and we're going to need to cover a lot of ground. But we have it for 8 hours, but we don't get it till midnight. So we have to start our investigation at midnight. We've never done that. So
That's weird. Why won't they let you in
interesting.
earlier than that? Why midnight?
Because I have a specified date that I need for when Joe can be up, and they have an event, and he's going to allow me to come in later. Yeah, it's kind of making concessions for me.
Oh,
and
well,
he's
that's
not
nice
charging me as much. He's not going to charge me as
well,
much because I'm friends with his friend. And so.
Yeah, I'd keep it secret until you been there, so nobody else, Yes, keep it secret.
Yeah, well, we'll see if things will happen. They're supposedly, well, I don't want to give it away. I will keep my mouth shut, but we'll see if we experience anything. It's going to be interesting, and it's a place we both haven't been to, so that'll be our February investigation before the Conjuring House in March.
In March, yeah. Is I know Beardo. I must remember what he said. He said he was going to come to Conjuring House, but now he's not. He's coming. I think he's going later in the year to America if he can. I think that's what he said. Something about the cost.
Yeah, June and July.
Yeah, June and July. Yeah, so I'll have to. Yeah, I'll have to check with him if he's around when I'm there, so he can come and have a cup of tea with me, or I can meet him where he is. But either way, I'll see him in September anyway, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, cool. Oh, you still there, Maisie? You still all right? Did that help any with Dawnie's story?
Yeah, I actually have a thought, just the one. No, there is other things that's happened in the house, in Mum's house. My brother died a few years ago, one of my brothers, and myself and Mum both hear him talking. We hear his voice inside the house and also outside in the garden at the greenhouse. And I actually mentioned it to Joe, Dawn, and he said that it could be, one of the things it could be is it could be a mimic, and not. But I mean,
yeah, I love Joe, but he's such a Debbie Downer, Dawnie. Because I wouldn't want to mimic. It's probably your brother. It's probably him coming in and out every now and then when he knows you're there. Like, has it since stopped? Like, was that shortly after he passed away, or is it recently?
Oh no, it's sort of. I mean, I've heard him 4 times, and I mean, I don't live there, I'm not sure how many times Mum's heard him, but it's his voice.
But was it? But is it recent, or do you still hear it?
Oh, it's since it wasn't actually just after his death that it started. It was quite a bit after, to be honest.
Oh.
And it's just every now and again. It doesn't. Date wise, it doesn't. We can't find a connection. Like it's not his birthday or anything. It's we can't find a connection with the date. But yeah, it's his voice.
What does he say? Can you hear the words, or does it just sort of sound like?
Oh, like, well, he calls your name.
Oh, oh, well, that's a bit creepy.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Joe's right.
and to be honest, because I like one day when I was working in the greenhouse, William loved growing vegetables, and he loved cooking. So, you know, he loved growing his own ingredients. And there was one day I was doing stuff in the greenhouse, and he said my name, and I just completely blanked that he wasn't there anymore. And I went, "Oh, William." And then it hit me, William's not there anymore. But I just reacted the way that I did when he was still around.
Well, then maybe it is his spirit still there then. If he loved all that sort of thing so much, maybe he doesn't want to leave. Maybe he does come back every now and then.
Yeah,
That
and
would isn't that what a real spirit's supposed to do? Haunt places that they used to love? That's what I think. If I were going to haunt, I wouldn't go and haunt somewhere I didn't like. I'd haunt where I used to love being, like checking on it and that sort of thing. So there you go. Oh, we'll take that one as a positive, Rosie.
yeah.
Or I would say a visitation, like when not really a haunting, but just
just popping in to say
loved
g'day.
ones.
Checking in.
Because especially
Checking
if it's an interactive, knowing your name and saying it and using the same voice that you're familiar with, that's where Joe would come in with mimicking, because we don't really know. You have to be careful with everything. But if it's familiar and they're in visitation, I have to get on to Joe about some of my experiences because he likes to debunk a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, I just called Joe my Debbie Downer. Every time I come up with something, and then he goes, "It could be," and I'm like, "Oh, can't you just say, yeah, that was a ghost, Karen?"
Yeah, we weren't even dating, and he was already debunking all my experiences. So, but I stayed with him. So. Yeah.
Oh, good old Debbie Downer. I wanted to get I should get Enzo to get it. There's a tune that Debbie Downer. It's like I can't do it. It's on Saturday Night Live. They used to have a segment, and it was Debbie Downer. And no matter what everyone was saying, she'd go, "Oh yeah," and then they go like a Debbie Downer music. And I did find it, yeah. And I thought every time I would have Joe on in the past, I used to think, "Oh, I just need that button." So I could push it into Johnny says, "Well, I don't think I thought like like here he comes." But yeah, but it's good. It's good to be it's good to debunk, but it's also you've got to be mindful. Well, although some things can be explained, if you can't actually replicate it exact, then it could be that, but then you haven't been able to replicate it, so maybe it's not that. Do you know what I mean? So I'm always careful. I'll go both ways. I'll go, this is what I think it could be and probably is. However, it might not be. So I don't know. It's unexplainable. But there you go. Oh. Am I missing anything in chat? I don't think so. I think everybody's listening intently.
Everyone is absorbed with this conversation.
Yeah, because I don't see any cheeky talk between Tanya and anybody. So there you go.
I can't see the chat. So if anybody said something to me, I don't see it, and I can't stay long. I've got
you're fine.
I'm so tired.
No, you're fine to step out. I didn't expect. I just wanted you to come on and tell me what that story was, rather than type it, because typing is a pain in the bottom. Yeah. And the story you told us, you couldn't. That'd be not enough letters in the little thing to type it out. So look, thank you, Dawn. I'll let you go. You go have a rest. And just that's okay. You don't have to hang in here.
Thanks for stopping by.
But it was good to hear Maisie and Enzo and be on here. So I'll jump in another time when I have a better connection and I can actually put myself on camera.
Yeah. We can have you can even just come on for a girls talk. I can get all the girls on. Girls
that sounds
chat.
Good.
All right, kiddo.
Well, good night, everyone. Thanks for having me on.
No worries. Bye.
Bye, Dawn.
So there we go. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Dawn is gorgeous. She's a nice. I say girl. I do that. Now I'm showing that I'm getting old because I call everyone, what a lovely
Everyone's a
little
kid.
boy.
Yeah.
Everyone's a kid. Oh, what a nice little kid. Like, yeah, so I'm trying to think if there was anything else I needed to tell everybody, but I don't think so. I think everything's been covered. I've just been busy doing like interviews for the 5 thing. Dawn's gone. Maisie, can you mute yourself again, sweetheart?
Oh, sorry. I don't know
Okay.
what it is because I have nothing.
Bloody hell.
Sorry, I'm right here.
There you go.
Tanya says, in some situations, debunking isn't wanted or needed.
That is
Correct, Tanya.
absolutely true.
Absolutely.
I had a situation last year. I've mentioned her before. My 77-year-old neighbor. Her son passed away last spring. She's 77. Her son was 55 or 6 or something like that. Died suddenly. And on the day after the funeral, where my neighbor, her little front room there where she watches TV, she has a recliner and a little stand that has a lamp built into it. The bulb in the lamp started flickering like crazy out of nowhere. Off on, off on, off on. She's like, I need to get another bulb. All the things I have to worry about, I need another bulb. And she goes and gets a spare bulb. She swaps it out. And she's goes to put the bulbs back in this little back room that she has, kind of in her like laundry room. And the bulb in the laundry room starts flashing off and on, off and on, off and on, off and on. And she's like, what in the world is going on? Am I going to have to call an electrician? And she said she just suddenly, she's like, I think it was my son. I think he was basically telling me he was okay and not to worry about him. It's the feeling I got. And I would not in a million years even entertain the thought of, well, let me go get my multimeter. I'll check your wiring. And it's like, because it was her way of coping with it and her way of dealing with it. And it made her feel better. So I would never in a million years even attempt to try and deconstruct any of that. Just let that one go.
Yep. And that's what I mean. Like when someone's grieving, just let them. And I've seen people do it. Oh, don't be silly. You know, I've heard those conversations, and you think, shut up. Like, you want to tell that person to be quiet because they're not the ones that are grieving. They're not the ones that have just lost a husband, a child, you know, whatever. Just be quiet. Just let them have that moment. Let them believe. The only reason that you might step in at a later date if seeing the person or these events were starting to actually affect the person physically, like, you know, they're not eating or
right.
You know, they won't leave the house because if they leave the house, you know, that sort of thing. That's the only time you wouldn't necessarily still say it's not real. You just sort of say, hey, I'm pretty sure that they're not wanting you to stay here. They're wanting you to be okay. Like, you'd have to handle it differently. But yeah, never tell anybody. Yeah, it's different. I'll do it all the time. It's different if you're just somewhere with people and someone goes, oh, I heard a bump and it's a ghost.
Right.
Like, that's different. Just go, dude, there's, you know, my favorite go-to, there's raccoons in the roof. Like, settle down, you know, or don't worry, I'm sure, whatever. Like, that's debunking's different. But when it's around grief and the death of a loved one, you just let it go.
Gotta let them have that one.
Yeah, and let them come to that conclusion at a later date. What if it's something happens and then they turn around and go, oh, damn it, it was that, it wasn't that, or whatever. But yeah, oh, I don't know. But yeah, so what have you got on this week, Enzo? Anything exciting?
Not really. It's been a very quiet week for like regular science. So actually, most of the exciting stuff happened today. There was a giant solar flare coming off of the sun, not directly pointed at us, but it was really big. It was in the X class range, which is pretty high. And it did, even though it may not be directly pointed at Earth, it still puts out a lot of
Yes.
radio emissions and things like that. So the way the Earth is angled and stuff like that right now for towards the sun, I would imagine they lost all radio contact down like in Antarctica earlier
I was
today
just
when
going
it,
to
when it
say,
sparked off.
because that's what it does, doesn't it? It interferes with radio signals, satellite signals, all that sort of thing. Mobile phones, it interferes with.
That's actually
everything.
kind of why I was asking about the phone call with
When did it
Maze.
happen?
When did that happen? If it was earlier today, I'd be like, oh boy.
Yeah, it could be that. Oh, Sandy, look, thanks for popping in. Have a wonderful weekend yourself. I won't be on for much longer, probably another 20 minutes or so. Probably keep it down to that. What do you think, Enzo? We'll
Sounds
see.
fair.
I think so. It's a warm day here today, and I've stopped smelling the barbecue, so they must have already eaten their barbecue, whoever was cooking it. But now all I can
It's
keep
lunchtime.
thinking
You're
about
gonna get out of here. Maybe cut it off
Yeah.
now and go grab a plate.
No, still. So yeah, but yeah, I've got I've done the 5 haunting questions, so I'm editing those, but I'm also trying to get finished my episode finished for the asylum. I'm just about done with the actual editing part, and now I have to do voiceovers and stuff like that. But yeah, so I'm a busy little bee with that sort of stuff, and just being a mum and all that sort of thing. And who had the earthquake, Dee? Where was the earthquake this week? Mind you, Victoria gets a lot of earthquakes, guys.
Really?
Yeah. When I was a kid, I lived in a place called Dandenong, which is at the base of the Dandenong Ranges and, like mountains and whatnot. And it was where we actually lived was sort of on a, what do you call it? The line,
Fault line.
the fault line. So through Dandenong, so to come up and through. So every now and then you'd get, little, not huge, but enough to shake the house. But so yeah, there you go. Hang on.
You see this
Daniel says,
actually, Tanya just put a link in the chat that probably does show it.
Massive. Oh, how do I do this? Hang on. If I hide it, yeah. Oh, I can't go to it on this. Yeah. I haven't got the other chat open. Have you got the other chat open, Enzo?
Yep. Got it. You see.
Can you click on it? I haven't got my YouTube open.
Yeah,
there you go.
Hang on.
Dandenong Way. Then it makes sense. Yeah, we get a lot. Or used to. Usually they're just tremors. Enzo's looking at it, Tanya.
We'll watch their video. We won't play the sound. We'll just turn on
because we don't want to
it is a news site, so it technically
should be okay.
Fine.
Well, even if we only look at it for a second.
Here we
go. Ooh. It's like a big thunderstorm on the sun.
Boom. Look at that.
Wow. Oh, someone's got a wonky. Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're doing that. There was another smaller one that happened earlier this week. I'll see if I can find I'll see if I can find that picture where basically it shows the prominence, which that's that expulsion of material, and it shows like a picture of like the Earth compared to that, so you get an idea of how big it is.
4.3 is not a tiny. It's not a huge, but it's still enough to shake the building around, isn't it? 4.3. Yeah. I know where Leongatha is. Yeah, and it's probably run right along the fault line that's there 2D down to get to South Australia. There is if you pull out the correct map, says you can see where all the fault lines are in Victoria, and up along Sydney Way, up that way. But I'm still waiting for the big one to hit California one day. It bothers me a little bit because the San Francisco one, the really big one, I mean, how it's over 100 years ago now, but there was a really big one, I want to say, when I was only maybe in my 20s. I remember a really bad one there where the roads collapsed and stuff, or am I imagining it? There was a bad one in San Francisco in my lifetime. I'm sure there was.
Oh,
I'm sure
in the 90s, right?
in the 90s, yeah. It was really bad.
Yeah, I
like the
remember that.
roads collapsed and everything.
It was during a World Series game. They had to close the whole place down.
Yeah, like,
A lot of highways that got destroyed and stuff like that. It was
pretty
rough.
bad. I mean, I'm assuming the one back at the Yellowstone volcano was more scary.
Yeah, the Yellowstone super volcano is, when that blows, half the country will be gone. Most of the country will be gone.
Whoa. Loma Prieta. What's that? What's that, Enzo? Oh, what's that, Daniel?
I'm not sure what that is.
So why will if the Yellowstone volcano goes kaboof, why will it be most of the country?
It's a super volcano. It's not like a very small area would be affected. It's like most of the state of Montana and big. It's one of those where it's not this one little hill, mountaintop that pops off. It's a giant area underground that takes up several states. So if it blows, the everything within the surrounding states, so maybe even including like where I am in Kansas, would certainly feel the effects of the initial blast, but it's all of the ash and debris and everything like that would blanket out to cover everything east of that, for sure, as a minimum. And that's honestly, it even could affect global weather, where you would get high altitude ash that sits up there in the upper part of the atmosphere for years and make the whole Earth several degrees cooler for that time.
Oh, cool is not bad, especially down here.
Crops don't grow that well when it's cold.
Oh, you just put on a heat lamp. She'll be right. But what is Loma? Well, I'll look it up. Daniel. I'll look it up. Loma Prieta. Loma Prieta. Did I spell it right? I did. There's a band called Loma Prieta. Oh, it was an earthquake. Oh, it looks terrible.
Your Australia earthquake?
Oh, so that's where it was. It's all right. Now I understand. We're talking in code, but is this from Australia's view?
This is actually from earlier this week, a different solar flare. Actually, that same spot is what made the big X flare today. But you see this little box down here, that little circle?
Yeah.
That's the size of Earth compared to the sun and this massive eruption here.
Holy moly, guacamole.
To give you an idea how big this is.
Whoa. Bay Area Ghost Daniel was saying that Loma Prieta is where the earthquake was in San Francisco, and he was there, and it was terrible.
Okay.
Seeing that makes me feel so insignificant.
Oh,
it really does.
Yeah. At least we know if the sun ever, it'd be a quick death if we got sucked into the sun, wouldn't it? It'd be like.
Well, it would bake. We'd bake for a while, and if the sun were to explode, there was actually another just astronomy thing where somebody spotted a sun that had gone supernova in another galaxy, like thousands of light years away. They just see this little bright spot pop up. It's like, oh, there's a star over there, way over there, that just went supernova.
Yeah, it will be someone's star one day, maybe.
Isn't there a volcano near Utah? I don't know about Utah. I'm not sure on that one.
Enzo, oh, sorry, I'll let you do.
Oh, sorry. Edwin's just saying, hello, Karen and Enzo and chat. Second time here, been listening to this great stream. I am the guy from Georgia, USA. Hello, Edwin.
Welcome aboard.
I remember Edwin, I think, last time because I referred to the fact that my brother John, his name, we call him Edwin because it's similar. Yes, Maisie.
Yeah, I was going to say, Enzo, did you hear about the black hole that they were, you know, studying and watching, and something came out of it?
No.
I did hear something about that. I don't necessarily know that it actually, and they don't know for sure either, that something actually came out of it or something, the black hole is here, shot out from behind it. And it looks like it came out.
Okay.
They're still trying to figure it out because
where's the black hole?
I don't know which one she's talking about exactly. There's a lot of them. There's quite a few. I'm not sure. I remember seeing something on the news about that though a few days back.
I've seen things come out of a black hole, but I think that wasn't a black hole. That was like, you know, on Star Trek, they always come through it. That's a wormhole. A wormhole.
Yeah, that's a little different.
That's a bit different. But I heard someone else talking about black holes.
I was questioning what kind of websites you were going to if you're looking at
someone was talking about black holes the other day, and the discussion is whether or not you just basically go through them and sort of float around like it. You go somewhere else. Is that what they were saying? What was it, Enzo? What? Tell me.
Well, that's a theory that if you could survive the crushing gravitational pull to go into a black hole, it may exit out, because there's also white holes where it expels matter out of it all the time. We don't have a ton of evidence on that. But it's theoretical that because a black hole is where you get so much mass, like from a large sun, over a period of time, it's going to burn, because how it works through nuclear fusion. Fusion is the sun, fission is nuclear weapons. Where basically the gravity of all that gas and stuff pushes in, and in the middle, it's actually pushing the atoms together to where they fuse together and make a new atom. And there's a giant amount of energy that's released, and that's how we get light and heat from the sun. That's what it is. Well, over a period of time, the heavier stuff in the middle uses up all the smaller stuff, all the hydrogen and helium and things like that. The lighter stuff gets used up. So it doesn't weigh as much, or it does, which is the wrong word to say. It has less mass, so it doesn't crush in as much, where it'll expand out and then it'll collapse back into like a black hole, or just explode all the way out instead of expanding. Yeah, they do sound naughty. There's a place you can research that more. It's, Edwin, you'll have to do your own research there, but
yeah. Edwin, it's Maisie Rose from Scotland. That's so. Edwin just said to say hello to the lady on the other lady on the panel. Yeah.
Oh, hi. Edwin. I'm sorry, I can't see chat. So hello to everyone that was saying anything to me. I'm sorry, I'm not seeing what you're saying.
Oh, they're all saying how wonderful you are. That's all.
Oh,
I didn't want to tell you because I don't want you to get a big head or anything,
Oh.
Tanya. Yeah, zip it, Tanya. Well, at least I know Tanya's just being her normal self now because she's said something cheeky. Oh, there's a whole heap of terminology and stuff that sounds naughty when you say it. But yeah, I don't know. I hope I never see a black hole. Because
by the time you see it, if you're able to see it from Earth, you're probably already dead. There's also a lot of time dilation because the immense gravity gravity field that goes around it, where it's one of those things where you see it and you might be locked in this time thing where you're looking at it for millions of years before it from your perspective, before you get sucked in, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But basically, when it collapses into a black hole, the gravity is so immense that light itself can't escape out of it. That's why it's called a black hole. It doesn't actually. We can't see the black hole itself. It's basically a compressed star is basically what it is in layman's terms. And what we see is all the crap circling that's falling into it.
Oh, doesn't sound very nice. It can
It's
stay
not.
away. Yeah, stay away.
That's the life cycle of a star, where sometimes they get to a point where they'll just explode, or a lot of mass comes in. It's for research purposes only.
Does that answer your question, Tanya? Everyone needs to do a little research at some point or
That's
other.
right. People have questions. Sometimes
Amazing.
very specific questions, and you can find it.
Tanya, Rosie, because you can't see the chat, Tanya just said, "What is this Pornhub you keep putting up on the screen, Enzo?" Bloody cheeky woman. Oh dear. Oh well, that's pretty interesting. So
the
so
idea,
that's all
because the
there is
gravity is
something
so, because the gravity is so intense in a black hole, if you were like in your little spaceship flying towards it, eventually you would get to what they call the event horizon, where there's no going back, where that's that point where light can't even get away from it, and you're going to fall into it. But
is that what the movie was about with Matt? What's his name? There was a movie called Event Horizon.
Yeah, there's been a few different black hole.
I'm sorry,
type
I've just
movies, so.
There is a movie of late with that title. I don't want to watch it then if it means they're going to get sucked in a black hole. That'd be horrible.
But
I don't like watching movies about space.
Yeah, it's big. But it ends up that if you were to fall into a black hole like that, you would end up being what they refer to as spaghettified, where your mass would get pulled out because of the extreme gravity into long, stretchy pieces of matter getting spaghetti slurped into the black hole itself. So I don't think you're going to survive that. But technically, I guess if you could develop some kind of magical spaceship device that would allow you to survive the transitions, the theory is because of the intense gravity and stuff like that, it may create this other pathway to like maybe another universe where you get spit out over there. Truth is, we don't really know. It's just.
But then you spat out in SpaghettiOs or spaghetti.
Yes, you'd be first spaghetti vomited out into this other universe and have to try and put yourself back together again.
Gross.
I love that term, spaghettified.
Spaghettified.
Dee says, like that submersible, the Titanic. No, that was just implosion. That's just pink mist.
That was an implosion, which is the opposite of explosion, where everything blows apart. But the implosion, just because of the weight of all that water. If you think about, like, if you're washing your car and you've got like a, big gallon thing of water, how heavy is that bucket of water? It's kind of heavy. Now imagine that stacked on top of your head for however deep they were, 20,000 feet or whatever it was. It wasn't that far. It was probably more like 12,000 feet. But that's pretty heavy, and it's pushing down on your head, those buckets of water on your head, but it's pushing on you from all sides. So you'd get squished pretty quick. And whatever craft you're in is going through those same pressures. So
yeah. The only godsend about something like that is it would have just been 1 minute you're sitting there and next minute, boom. Just
they may have heard a little creak and maybe a spray of water, and again, if there was like a pinprick in the hole, like a little pinprick hole, the water would have such pressure it would have been like a laser beam. It would have like sliced off limbs and everything else. It would have been ugly.
Oh well, let's not make it that gruesome. but look, if that were my family member in that, despite the fact I'd be horrifically whatever, I would know that there was no suffering. It was so super quick. They absolutely. And what is it? It's something they've measured how long it takes, thought process and stuff. So they literally would not even know what hit them.
It's less than a second probably, because once it goes, it all goes at the same time and all the water crushes in and stuff like that. It would have been over very fast for them.
Here, Daniel has a question for you. Could a stable wormhole get through a black hole?
I don't know. That would be, well, along with that theory where going through a black hole might lead you to somewhere else if you can survive the experience. That would mean a black hole is sort of like a wormhole. It's just leading to some totally other place that's not even in our universe, probably. But
hey, Jennifer.
hello.
Oh, the things we talk about. See, we start out talking about stuff, and then we talk about ghosties, then we talk about science. I rather enjoy the science part of things. I enjoy all parts of things, but I don't know. I'm just happy here on Earth. I don't think I need to. I would like to go to the moon. I would like to have the experience of standing on the moon and looking back at the planet. And
if they had if 10 years from now and Elon Musk has a vacation trip to the moon for like a couple days where you go up there and check it out, would you go? If you could afford it. I'm sure it would be expensive.
Oh well, I would never be able to afford it unless, of course, Elon and I get hitched. Then
there you go.
I'm putting that offer out as if you'd look at my little channel. Marry me, Elon, so I can just afford to do stuff. No, that's not very nice. I'll cook his dinner. Goodness. Edwin is asking, is there any evidence that our solar system is very slowly moving towards a black hole?
No, well, I mean, I guess it depends on how you consider very slowly. Billions and billions of years from now, everything ends up in the black hole because the center of our galaxy has a supermassive black hole because it's a galaxy's worth of mass crushing in on it. So you've got a lot of old dead stars in there that have all. Of course, the larger ones get attracted to the smaller ones get attracted to the bigger ones and just make a big one. So if you're a stargazer, you want to go outside and you want to see the center of the galaxy, look towards the constellation Sagittarius.
So I'm just reading these rude comments, Maisie Rose. Tanya, Karen enjoys all parts of men. Right. And then Julie says, I enjoy certain parts even more. Well, you girls are very naughty because I do not enjoy any of that anymore. I'm too old. I like to look. Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm just, I'm too old. I could think I'd much rather just have dinner. I just, I've made too many children. Sorry, Maisie, I interrupted. What were you going to say?
Made
her forget. We were talking about black holes, I think.
It was Enzo, there's been research recently put out. I don't know if it's been sort of tested and agreed upon, but have you heard about them saying that the whole mass of galaxies and everything is actually a lot bigger than they thought it was? I know it's been expanding anyway since the Big Bang, but they just realized it's actually a hell of a lot bigger than they thought it was in the first place.
Oh yeah. When it comes to big space, stuff outside our own solar system, even outside our own galaxy.
No. Oh, no. Oh, well, so long as they keep their jocks on.
Wow.
That's briefs, you know. So long as it's
Maisie
super-
has no idea what you're talking about. You're
No,
talking about
sorry, Maisie.
super
I'm listening to you.
galaxies.
Yeah, you're talking about super galaxies, and Julia R is saying someone going to Virginia City needs to get Karen a stripper. No.
dear.
Now, see, you probably put that out there, and someone listening will go, no. I'd get super embarrassed, and then I just no. Like I say, so long as they kept their briefs on, that's fine. They can do whatever they like. I'll get them a poll. No, dear. Sorry, I interrupted a very serious conversation.
Basically,
Oh my God, hang on. I'm sorry. Read that one.
I heard that Enzo is easy after a few drinks. He may even strip. Oh, he might.
No. I'll be no.
I'm here still holding a conversation. Stripping is way down here
Yeah.
in the bottle there.
Okay. Oh, Tanya.
Wow.
See, this is what Tanya does. Oh, no. Yeah. Boy. Oh, you really need to see the chat. You'll have to look at it later, Maisie. Yeah, I've heard that the galaxy's humongous and bigger, and we're just kind of a tiny little part of an even bigger.
And that's true. And as it turns out, our galaxy is one of many, many other galaxies. Dozen or so years ago, the Hubble Space Telescope, they pointed at like the darkest part of the sky and just took pictures of that darkest part where they couldn't see anything there. When they looked at the photographs, it's got thousands of these little points. They're not stars. Those are whole other galaxies out there.
Yeah.
It turns out that when you go out, outside of our solar system, you see the galaxy, then there's super groups of galaxies that hang around. And when you go out beyond that, there's actually structure to like almost filaments of those super groups of galaxies. And our universe is pretty dang big.
Well,
oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go.
Yeah, sorry, this is jumping onto aliens now. Well, not literally. But have you heard the theory that aliens, they might actually be silicon based? That they've come from basically a sort of development like ourselves, but they're way ahead, and they've actually progressed into a silicon based form. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, there's been theories about that for a long time. Back in the 50s and 60s, they theorized about a silicon-based life form. Mostly talking about, on the microscopic level or like bacteria level, that kind of thing. As it turns out, for us here on Earth, we only have an example set of life of one. Here, that's us. That's here on Earth. We haven't found anything that would be a silicon-based life form. That's not to say it doesn't exist out there, but the conditions would have to be pretty specific for something like that to propagate the way that we think of how life works, where it starts off as a tiny cell and develops into a multiple cell animal, just evolution up until you get silicon-based monkeys throwing nukes at each other. So that's how we did it. But it's not impossible, but we, other than just the theory and conjecture of it, we don't know. We don't know what they would end up really looking like, or what, would they just be giant rocks or crystals or something like that? I don't know.
Well, I thought they were just green or gray.
Right. The ones that we hear about, the grays, and of course there's a whole host of other alien species that supposedly visit Earth and bother us. everything that we've heard about, at least so far, is certainly some kind of biological thing that evolved on wherever they came from, like how we evolved here.
Actually, when I interviewed Kenny the other day, and he was sort of saying that he doesn't think aliens visit the planet. He's not saying there's no life out there, but he doesn't believe they've been here visiting. And then he went on to explain why he thinks that, which was a good theory. But the more I listen to what he said, the more I think, well, it is a good theory, but he's supposing that they only have the technical abilities that we do, because he was theorizing how many generations in a spacecraft you would need to send to travel that fast, etc. And I get that, but that would be more looking at it from our point of view, if we were to travel outside of our planet. So I thought, well, yes, true. But then I thought, but hang on, like I say, that we're assuming, he's assuming that they've only got our technical capabilities. So if we're going with someone who's far more advanced than us, which is absolutely possible, and well, probably more than possible, probably just is the what's happening. Therefore, one could don't even think about barking. My Chihuahua's ears are up. I'm looking. There's no one at the door. All right? No one. Just don't.
Again, that goes back to what I was saying earlier about we've got an example set of one. So that kind of idea of, it's too far away, they could never get here. But that's a very humanistic point of view.
Way of looking at it.
Our current technology, technically, we actually kind of could make something that could travel to the nearest star, which is like 4.3 light years away. It would take 100 years, but it could certainly make it there. And actually, it involves basically using nuclear weapons. He's setting it off inside of this like cone-shaped thing, and the force of the explosion propels the craft forward. But it would take 50 years of getting up to speed to there, and then you'd have to flip it around and start firing it off the other direction to slow down the other 50 years, kind of a thing.
The time thing was something that was mentioned as well. Exactly what you were saying there about like the way we feel about time and categorize time. Time, because they're carbon based, time isn't anything to them. They've got all the time in the world, and outside the world. So 100 years is nothing for them.
And that's exactly true.
Yeah, it was fascinating.
Time for a dance, Enzo. Time for a dance. Thank you, Cheryl. Yeah, time for a dance. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you for the $20 towards a stripper. I must actually work on some kind of thing to pop up when someone does that for me, rather than my random singing. What do you think about my singing, Maisie?
It's cute. I like it. And your wee cheer dance as well.
Oh yeah, disco. I could do a disco things. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Oh, speaking of disco, and to take this conversation a whole different way, has anybody in the chat? Thank you again, Cheryl. You're gorgeous. Thank you. Has anyone in the chat? I haven't watched it yet, and I'm still considering it. But has anyone in the chat seen a movie called Saltburn? Saltburn. It's called Saltburn, and it's about a young man who comes from a well-to-do family, not super rich, but well-to-do, who befriends a super rich boy at Cambridge or somewhere like that, goes to stay with him at their palatial, and I mean it's a palace, and basically murders nearly the entire family, And at the end of it, the end scene is him dancing naked through the house, super happy that he's murdered everybody, I think. Oh my God. And yes, everyone's saying no. I'm just like, but the reason was because my daughter came out to me the other day, and that song Murder on the Dance Floor is the song he's dancing to, because she heard me playing the song, putting it on my clip thing, and she goes, oh, have you seen that movie? And I said, what are you talking about? And she goes, oh, and she started to tell me about Saltburn. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to watch it. I might watch it. I'll see how bored I get. But but yeah, it's like, ew. And apparently it's pretty gruesome in parts, and he does rude things on a grave, and I'm not sure I want to. But the dance scene was good. He was naked. He's got a good body. They blocked out things. Yeah, and of course Karen wants to see the naked man. Julie. Look, it's like anything. I'm sure Enzo, being a male, and any males in here would understand that they like to look at the form of a female in good shape.
It's true.
As does even I can look at a female and think, wow, she really looks after herself, like she's in good shape. The same with a man. You can look at a man and go, wow, he's in really good shape. He's a fine specimen. It doesn't mean anything. It's not like it's a rude thought. Yeah. Might consider it now. Yeah, it's just even if you just watch the end bit, that's what I'm going. Maybe if I figure out that the movie's a little bit too icky for me, negative BS and bad for your soul. Don't watch that. All right, I'll just put it on and I'll go right to
yeah, you need a timestamp to that one part, and then that's it.
Yeah, I'll just timestamp to the one part where he dances naked through there. Apparently, you see his willy. So I don't really know that I want to see his willy, but yeah. but the dance scene, he's got a good body, like he's in really good shape. Whoever the boy is, the actor. Yeah. What does Julie? Women have beautiful bodies. Men have things just hanging down. Do you know what? No offense, Enzo, or to any gentleman watching, and all the females will understand what I'm about to say. But that particular part of the male anatomy is very happily hidden behind, like, it's not the prettiest thing to look at. It's not the best. Men don't need to send pictures of that to ladies because ladies just go ew and delete. No, on no planet are you going to get a woman, unless she's weird, are you going to have a woman answer you back going, oh, let me see more. Now, if you sent a woman a picture of you working hard in the garden, all sweaty, and that'll get a woman better, I think. What do you think, ladies? That's what I think. I like to see a man working. Manual labor is always good because it shows me that he's clever and he can do things. And, or a scientist. A scientific mind is also very attractive. But that little bit that angles down the bottom, yeah, we don't need to see that.
I think...
or Magic Mike. I don't mind watching that movie.
I think,
there you go.
Someone who's a good conversationalist, someone that you can sort of really
ask
have
about black holes.
A good chat.
There you go, Rosie. I'll just send Enzo over to you. He'll keep you okay. I actually just find, I went to a pathology lab when I was doing my nursing studies, and I went to a pathology lab. It was just a pathology lab, and the scientist guy that was in there that was showing us around, and he was explaining how the different things under the microscope work and everything. And I was younger. Okay, I was a lot younger. But he started to explain all these things, and he was the dorkiest looking or nerdiest looking person you'd ever seen, like glasses, his hair was like, he was just so dorky. But the minute, actually, he looked, he sort of a little bit like, what's his name that just passed away a few years ago in the wheelchair, Stephen Hawking's. He was Stephen Hawking's, but young Stephen Hawking's. And he started to talk about all this stuff. And all of a sudden, I'd gone from looking at him as this nerdy looking man to like, ooh.
Wow.
I thought, wow, he's really ooh. And I don't know why that happened. I was younger.
Wow.
What's Julie saying? I've seen more penises than the lady of the night. Oh, Julie, do tell. Oh, there you go. Tanya's just Googled him. Yes, he does. He's really worked out hard for his face, bit like a drop pie, but his body, yeah, he's got a good body. Do you know who else is really handsome? Plays Superman. What's his name? Henry Cavill.
Oh,
good Lord.
That's not a big revelation, I don't think. But
Henry Cavill. Like, he's always been handsome. I saw him for the first time ever in miniseries The Tudors about Henry VIII, and he played Henry VIII's friend, and he was in a scene in that, and I'm like, there was a lot of scenes in that were very rude. But I remember seeing him in that and thinking, oh God, he's all right. Sometimes you can't help it. Sometimes those, where's Edwin's comment? There you go. Karen, I agree. You can admire the form without having lustful thoughts most of the time. That's right. And I did admire, but sometimes you do have lustful thoughts. I don't anymore, though, because I'm too old.
Yeah, Cavill. I think he's currently filming the remake of The Highlander.
No.
Yeah. They're going to ruin it.
Connor McLeod. Yeah.
No.
Who's going to be who's the new Connor McLeod? Who is it?
Henry Cavill.
In that case, well, all right then. I'll let that. I'll leave that. Yes, okay. We'll leave that then. I'll form a judgment on that later because it's Henry.
No.
But yeah, I do hate it when they mess with like that. Highlanders.
That's a
classic
great movie. Yeah,
it's a great movie.
Yeah, it's in one of my top movies. No, Christopher Lambert. No, you can't do that to him.
No, but we'll see. Maybe it'll be okay. I don't know. But the thing that bothers me about Tom Hardy, the thing that bothers me the most about movies nowadays when they remake them, there's so much AI and all that sort of stuff that I would prefer that they went back to old school, just making the movies the way they used to, where, sure, but like the Marvel movies. I watched Spider-Man the other night, the original, the first one that came out with what's his name?
Tobey Maguire.
Yeah. And that was okay. It was easy to watch. I find they used a little bit of this and that in it, but it wasn't over the top, special effects. That's what I'll call it. But I watched the other one. I watched another one the other night with the other boy in it. I can't think what his name is. Anyway, it was another one, and it was just so busy, busy with the AI effects and the quickness and the thing that my brain, I just couldn't.
There are more cartoons now with all the CGI involved.
Yeah, and I don't like it. So if they remake Highlander, I hope they try to make it more realistic than over the top crap.
Henry Cavill was pretty well known for sticking to the original source material. That's why he's no longer on the Witcher series.
Yeah, he left.
The Hollywood network side says, he was a problem to deal with. Yeah, because he was bitching at him because they weren't following the source material from the computer games.
Yeah, and because Henry Cavill, if you've ever seen him he's a nerd. He's a nerd. He loves computer games. That's what he does when he's home. He's on the computer playing games. he was actually so nerdy. He was talking about his setup, and one of the interviewers said, "Oh, I play whatever this game was," and he goes, "Oh, I play that." Blah blah blah. And started to talk about the game. He's a real nerd, which is But there you go. What?
Yeah,
What am I missing here?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I'm just diabolical. Oh, Santa. Oh, okay. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, go,
Yeah,
Maisie.
I was going to say that's I find that a very attractive thing when somebody is just so passionate about a particular thing. When I worked security, like before my accident, I worked security, and I would work at the model train exhibition, and people sort of say, "Oh, the Anorak squad and all this sort of thing," but these guys were just amazing. They would lay out these huge they'd lay out these huge scenes for their trains to go around, and they would have lights that would go on in the houses, in the street lights. They would make all the trees and the bushes and and the lamp poles, but yeah, they were an absolute delight to talk to because they were so engrossed. And I think that's sexy.
Well, apparently Julia thinks that she's fixed it later, but hot nerds, big turn on. There you go, Enzo. Oh, what's Debbie say? Doof, doof. If you thought that was weird, you should see some weird fan mail I get. Oh dear. Oh, hot checks really burn you. Just not sure what that has to do with vampires. Oh, I don't know. What's about? Oh, vampires suck.
Oh, really? Ah.
You'd want to be careful of a girl vampire. You would want to be careful of a girl vampire if you were a boy. You know, those sharp teeth. Ow. I'm sorry. See, look, it's getting close. 2 minutes to go. I'm going to end this before this conversation goes anywhere.
Too late.
No, some female vampires had their fangs in their yes.
What?
So that
I'm talking about their tooth, Maisie. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but there's some female vampires. Their fangs were actually in their vajayjay.
Oh yes, yeah. No, we don't want to go there. That sounds rather. I'm just talking about your general fangs that are in your gob. We want to see a new Aussie movie came out this week, The Dry Force of Nature. Oh, I'll have to check that out. Who's in it, Dee? Anyone we know? It's okay, Sunsaver. Hello, and thank you for dropping in. I'm ending this now anyway. I've promised 2 hours, full stop. That's it. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you again so much, Cheryl, for the money towards the stripper in Virginia City. Oh, goodness me. It's been great. This has been fun. Thanks for dropping in, Maisie, and thanks to Dawny for popping in to tell her story. And yeah, if you haven't seen my episode I popped up this morning yet, go check it out. It's with CL Thomas, a lady. So that's my 5 haunting questions, and I'll have another 5 hauntings question for. I shall have another 5 haunting questions episode out in a couple of days. So keep your eyes open for that. And I'm still working on my asylum one. I'm going to really hoe into it tomorrow and get it done. Right now, I'm going to go and buy myself a steak and some mushrooms and eat up. Eric Banner. Dee. Before I go, I stayed in a hotel while I was away with my daughter. And the hotel manager said, I'll have to pop you in room 10. And he goes, Eric Banner just stayed in that. I slept in the same bed that Eric Banner slept in. Weird. Just saying. So, yeah, I'll go check that out. I like Eric Banner.
Can I
Julie.
love and hugs to everybody from me.
Yeah. All right. Well, go to the doctor, like I said, or get your mum to a doctor and just check things and keep your eyes open for other signs. And I'm going to get rid of that. I do want a big piece of steak, Julie. Steak.
Don't forget you have something to play as we leave.
Oh, I do. All right. But how do I do that, Enzo? I've just got to play it.
Yep, you play it, and when it's over, just cut the feed.
All right. Here we go, guys. I'm experimenting with this. I think it's the right one. All right. Love you all. And I shall see you this same time next week, and but in somewhere in between as well. Bye.
Bye.